So this is a drama, real life drama about the unearthing of the Sutton Hoo treasures on the eve of World War II, adapted by screenwriter Maura Buffini from the historical novel by John Preston. So Ralph Fiennes is Basil Brown, self-taught archaeologist, wears his learning very lightly. He's enlisted by Edith Pretty, played by Kerry Mulligan, to excavate these what look like their burial mounds on her property. And during the course of the film, we see this unlikely friendship between these two very different characters start to emerge. Here's a clip.
I was reading Howard Carter's account of his excavation of the tomb of Tutankhamun.
Oh?
He stood at the threshold of the burial chamber, the first man to do so for 3,000 years, and he saw finger marks still on the paint.
He say time lost its meaning.
It occurs to me that you might unearth human remains.
Yeah, that's possible.
We're digging down to meet the dead. Disinterring them, in fact.
Well, there's always coroner's inquests when remains are found. The dead still get that courtesy, no matter how many centuries they've lain.
So we talked about this a little, after you did the interview, lovely interview with Ralph Fiennes. I like this very much. It's beautifully lensed by Mike Ely. You do get that real sense of, as you said, big skies and open landscape, and it does feel like you're in the drama. Two very good central performances, Fiennes and Kerry Mulligan, perfectly cast in those lead roles. Although I have to say, I think there are great supporting performances. Monica Dolan is terrific as Basil Brown's wife. It's a small role, but it's really, really well done. There are a few very significant scenes. Ken Starr, who is the kind of the embodiment of the kind of snobby establishment coming in to take everything over. But actually, there's also this really great story about his relationship with the young son, Robert, played by Archie Barnes, who finds solace in the friendship that he strikes with Basil, because he starts to realise that his mother's health is ailing. If I have a complaint, and I do, it's that I think that the sort of subplot about the relationship between Peggy, who's played by Lily James, and Rory, who's played by Johnny Flynn, who is a fictional character written into the story, feels like a distraction and feels like it's there in order to say to a kind of younger demographic, it's okay, there's young sexy stuff happening over here. I think they're both very fine actors, and they both do the best with that role. But that felt to me like I'm kind of not really interested in that. What I'm interested in, when you interviewed Ralph Fiennes, he said this thing which really struck me. He said that it is a story about kindred spirits that is unencumbered by romance, and or not clouded by romance, I think was the phrase he used. And it was a really lovely moment, because he said it as if he was saying it for the first time. Maybe it's something he said in every interview, but in my mind, that was a gem that only you could possibly have got out of him. And I did feel like, yes, that's what makes the story work, is exactly that. And I felt like the other stuff felt like I didn't need it there. But it's a minor point. I thought beyond that, the film that I mentioned this to you before, it kind of reminded me tonally of Summerland, the Jessica Swell film, which I absolutely love. And I think the things that are right with it overshadow the things that are wrong with it, and the fact that it all takes place under these kind of darkening skies anyway. I just think that there's a story there that I'm interested in, and then there's another story that feels like it's trying to say to the audience, it's okay, this other stuff is happening, and I'm going, yeah, but I want to get back to that other part of the story, which is the thing I'm really interested in.
Yeah, but it really, I mean, I think you are correct in all of that, but there is so much in Ralph Fiennes' performance, as I think if anyone who heard the interview thinking, when he's really into these roles, he's so, I mean, he's animated is the wrong word, because Basil is not an animated person at all, but it's so beautifully observed.
Yeah.
And really nuanced that I thought, okay, I think it's terrific.
No, I think so. And actually, it was interesting again. I mean, if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to Simon's interview, which you can get it on the podcast, because there was a moment when you said, look, I don't know this, but I get the feeling that you really loved playing this part. And there's this really long pause, and Ralph Fiennes goes, yes, I did. And you can feel it, because we have had Ralph Fiennes on the show when he's played parts that he cares less about.
Explain the Elder Wand and how that works. And having just watched Harry Potter all the way through again, it's a challenge. So I can understand why he might. But no, he's just, and it's not just Rafe. When actors are really invested in a character, sometimes because they're producing it as well, you just get a different level of interview. But you could you could tell he just loved this guy.
You absolutely could. You absolutely could.